Woolie, get your hourglass. Oh, that one's too big. All right. I'll use my child's hourglass.
What topic are we entering here?
So the other thing, oh, I can't see it. The other thing that I did this week is I'm back into 14.
Yeah, all right, here we go.
Long and short of it,
yep,
is that I have not played that game seriously for about 18 months, something like that.
Okay.
Like I've been out. And I went back to the recent patch and I'm doing the newer patch tomorrow. But what's more interesting, and they were good. But what's more interesting to me than that is why I left this part to technically be news, is that the keynote is on Friday, and the keynote is when they're going to announce the next expansion and all that. But of note is that the keynote is more than twice as long as it usually is.
Ah.
And we are now in interview season where there's implications and have statements about what's going to be incoming.
Is this the live leak or live letter? What is it called?
No, it's the keynote. It's for FanFest. It's the he comes out on the stage and gives a gigantic presentation.
It's not the FF14 live leak.
Yeah, that's different. That's highly different. Usually those are an hour long, and they start with the trailer and they go, we're gonna go here, and whatever, right? This one is 2 hours plus, and the reason of why it is a special note and what has gotten me back in is because interviews in which Yoshi P talking, and Yoshi P is one of those producers that like deliberately like undersells things.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is ever bombastic. Everything's always, please have reasonable expectations.
Sorry, hold on. Doorbell, gotta go.
Can't stop.
All right, we are back.
Woolie, did you fake a doorbell to get out of this conversation?
I did not, and I turned this sideways to as a sign of good faith.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
All right, we are resuming.
All right. Anyway, the point being is that Yoshi P has stated in his, I'm using a tiny one.
No, I know, but I'm just making sure that I switched it back to the right side and not the...
whatever.
Okay.
Yoshi P has said that the upcoming changes are the largest that have had to the game since A Realm Reborn. The only difference is that this time they are not rebuilding the client from scratch. But that is the level of systemic change to expect for the game going forward.
And not just the plot resetting, but system changes.
So an example he brought up was there's a thing where if you do what's called an extreme trial, which is, a boss fight against a famous summoner, right? You do it with your bros, and it'll drop weapons, and it also rarely drops mounts, right? But if you don't get lucky, it also gives you a token every time you beat it, right? And then you can cash in the token, 10 for a weapon, 99 for a mount. And that's how it is. So that gets people running these things over and over and over, because if they're just really, really, really unlucky, you get up your tokens and you cash it in. And in response to that, he says, oh yeah, no, that system's going to be gone. That's going to be replaced with a completely different thing. And goes on to say, we have taken a very long look at every single system that currently exists in the game and whether or not it should be there, and if it should we change it. As well as in one of the interviews describing how the data center situation will be solved, which probably means that it's going to be like a matchmaking across every player simultaneously instead of being siphoned off into different data centers. This is like specifically, what this reminds me of? The only other time I have ever seen this type of developer call their shot like this is when Itsuno came out and said Devil May Cry 5 will exceed all of your expectations from a guy who's very quiet and doesn't brag.
Do you got that? Do you got that second hourglass around?
The big one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
All right. Flip it over for a second.
All right.
No, keep the other one going.
Keep the other one. Okay.
All right. Or no, you can pause that one actually if you need to. Okay. All right. So yeah, we can pause that. It's just funny because this reminds me of when I was on stream with Bricky and we were playing 2XKO. And
Glass.
Say again?
How come you get the big hourglass?
I'm giving you the big one here too. I'm giving you the big one. I'm giving you your.
Oh, you gave me the big one. Okay, because we're gonna just go off of your
Mortal Kombat. So I was playing 2XKO, and when we were doing the Twitch rivals, and like we were talking about some of the new stuff that was coming to the game, and he went and I was like, oh yeah, and here's a big something that's a big deal is they announced Duo Finder is coming to the game.
That is a big deal,
right?
That
so
is a big deal.
New fuses, new character, etc. All that stuff is great, but Duo Finder is going to be a thing where you just queue up and it's going to find you somebody to team up with.
That's a great
right?
Honestly, that's fun.
Huge,
you
right?
Can play with some pros or some trash. You just got to make do.
Local duos and the ability to. So that's great. And Bricky just went, that's not a feature?
That's not a feature.
And I was like, fuck me.
The expectation.
This revolutionary, awesome new announcement is like, well, no shit. How is that not already a thing? And you're like,
14 is totally going through that as well.
And this is where we are. This is how far back we are.
Yeah,
it's fucking Stone Age.
It's a PS3 game built on spaghetti code, and so I haven't been paying attention. The Dawn Trail, what do you call it? Patch cycle has been about cleaning up technical debt. It's like, hey, this system over here sucks shit. We're gonna clean it up.
Old things that are holdovers that have not been addressed for years.
Like one of the things that's gonna happen in the patch that comes out in 2 weeks is they're gonna make it so that if you make a full set of like a full outfit glamour, it's gonna count as one item in your storage.
Okay.
Right? Which means that people will be able to store like 10 times as many outfits.
It didn't count as one before.
No, it didn't. So one of the things people want out of a glamour system is the way WoW does it, which is anything you have ever put on your fucking character ever stays in a big list that you can get to pick. FF14 system is super complicated and relies on you keeping the item and putting it into the fucking whatever. It's a mess, right? So hearing that that what was known like a year ago is that 8.0 will be the big combat overhaul where they're gonna like look at and fuck with every job from scratch. But now they are talking about, no, apparently it's the overhaul where they are looking at everything and seeing what needs to stay, what needs to go, what needs to be changed into a different game.
Okay. And you said a Realm Reborn levels of change.
Yes. He said the only reason we wouldn't call it as big of a change is we are not rebuilding the client from scratch.
Okay.
But like this is really, really big talk from a guy who is always careful to manage reasonable expectations and go, maybe we'll get to it later. Maybe when we could, that kind of discussion for a live game.
Well, okay, and if the extra muted like reasonable take is actually underselling the level of change here, you kind of have to wonder then, like, why not rebrand at a certain level, right?
Well, I have a sneaking suspicion that they're going to call the next expansion A Realm Rejoined, which would be a play on A Realm Reborn, but also a thing. I expect, so for people who play FF14, this means they've essentially said that the 2-minute meta is going to be destroyed, which is great because every job in FF14 relies on a 2-minute timer, and every single job is build your meter, then spend your meter. And like the identity between those has like kind of fallen away.
Did that smiling old guy that got cooked in the Realm Reborn reveal ever come back? Okay.
Well, I'm gonna go with yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with kind of. Kind of.
Okay. All right. Should I have not asked? I don't know.
No, that's you were asking a 10-year-old question.
Okay. I just remember because when we were working at the fucking company and their people were testing it and they left their shit on idle, I just had a million screens of that old guy getting
and then
murked.
Louis Swan makes a minor spelling mistake and just
and fucking gets Dragon Balled out of existence.
So I'm catching up because I want to be current for when they announce the thing, right? And the other statement that I actually really liked, which was they said that normally the keynote is 2 hours. Sorry, normally the keynote is 1 hour, but they have 5 hours of shit they want to talk about. So they're actually going to split it into 2 at the North American one, 2 at the European one, and 2 at the Japanese one, which is way, way, way more than they ever talk about an expansion. They usually just give you the trailer and then go, you're going to go to this location, and then they talk for half an hour about the new class.
So you were out
I'm
up until
expecting
this
large-scale
point,
systemic changes.
You were out prior to this.
I was out. And one of the reasons I was out, and like some of this is going to fly over your head, but like for people who know, I have been playing FF14 very strongly since April of 2015. We are now coming up on April of 2026 with a year-long break. So I played it solid for 10 years. There is only so many weeks in a row I can get 450 tomes before lockout. There is only so many EX trials I can do to get 99 fucking totems to get the fucking bird, dog, dragon, whatever. There is only so many times I can learn a 2-minute rotation within the first week of playing the game in the expansion and run that rotation for a 23-month period without any changes whatsoever. There's lots of little mechanical things that have been exactly the same since 2013. That's too long.
Meanwhile, Skill Issue says Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 players as they pop off at the final DLC announcement for a game that's been running for probably just as long. I think 2016 was the launch of Xenoverse 2.
Yeah. So yeah, the long and short of it is I'm going to check out the live letter on Friday morning. And I am expecting big changes. I have been told there are big changes coming, and I believe the person who said it. So if there are not big changes coming, get ready for me to be pissed the fuck off the following Tuesday, where I will rant and rave about how I got fucking hoodwinked.
But ultimately, the changes are not what you needed. You just needed new, interesting things to do.
I do need certain changes.
Okay.
Like I will very shortly. The weekly grind, like the nature of what you get and how you get it and how fast you get it, has been the same since 2013. It's literally been identical for fucking 13 years. That's ridiculous. What's called the 2-minute meta and what's called homogenization of jobs.
What is that?
Which is so. Hourglass is out. Do you want me to tell you what the 2-minute meta is?
Go for it.
Okay. The long and short of it is that a long time ago, Woolie, classes got buffs that would apply to the rest of the party, right? So Dragoon had one that would like up the critical rate of other people in the party and by 10%, right? You know, a damage buff for everybody. And it would have a 90-second cooldown, right? Simple. Bard would have one that was 60 seconds. Dancer would have one that's 2 minutes, whatever.
So everyone's rotation should last about that long.
So what happened was you had like 14 classes, and it turns out some classes have moves that line up more readily with each other. So, hey, turns out, I forget what the numbers were, but there was like a 90-second meta at one point where it's like, hey, Bard and Machinist and Astrologian and this, they all line up. So they're the ones you want to take. So they went, okay. And over 10 years, they've said, well, we don't want Dark Knight or Warrior or Bard or Summoner to be left out. So let's nudge their numbers over here. Now everyone's buffs are on a 2-minute timer.
Okay.
Which means every rotation is now built with the assumption that everyone's going to burst at 1 minute and 45 seconds to 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And all those buffs have to line up at the 2-minute mark so that everyone's doing the most amount of damage when everybody's buffs are active.
Okay.
And there's two problems with this. One, it makes every single fucking class feel exactly the same.
Right.
Because every class is on a rotation that lasts exactly 120 seconds. But two, it means that if anybody makes a mistake and is 3 seconds behind, the whole fucking system starts to come apart during the fight, and now no one's shit is lined up, and it sucks.
Oh, and there's no accounting for like a slight lag or
because you can't make the cooldown go faster.
Gotcha. Okay. So everyone's 2 minutes becomes the skill points
the rock solid
to pull
thing.
out everything from.
Around
yeah.
it.
Okay.
Right, they've designed fights around. The fight's pretty normal and the mechanics aren't too strict, but at 1 minute and 50 seconds into the fight, there's a really complicated math component that you have to run your burst while managing and stuff like that. It has been the 2-minute meta has been the 2-minute meta for like 6 years.
I see.
And it has led to every tank feeling like variations on tank. It feels like every healer is variation on healer. You know, like like
too samey in their yeah.
And now every tank is Coke. Do you want Diet Coke or Coke Zero or Crystal? You know,
right.
So I am fully expecting the destruction of what's called the 2-minute meta. I don't know how they're going to do it.
Here's your new Overwatch hero. It's a fusion of all previous abilities from a bunch of different characters in together or whatever.
Hey, congrats. You want to play tank? Every tank is either Ryu, Ken, Akuma, or Sean.
Sure. Yeah.
And hope that your tank isn't the Sean this cycle.
So do you break that and not have the whole system be destroyed? Because the reasons why it exists do make sense.
They do. So there's a couple ways you could break it. You could just not have party-wide buffs anymore outside of Bard and Dancer. Just like the only people who can buff the party are the guys whose class
entire
fantasy
job
is to buff the party.
Okay.
Right?
Class
like that would just kill that shit right off the bat.
Class fantasy. I've heard this terminology before. So the hero
class
fantasy
is not specific to MMOs.
No. I've heard this in shooters. I've heard this in other things as a game design term for like the hero fantasy, the thing fantasy.
It works for fighters too.
Yeah, it's like what the idea of playing this character is supposed to feel like, right? Yeah. The goal ultimately. Yeah, it's the
so
phrasing.
Like a really good example in 14 that I can explain because I play tank is that tanks want to feel fucking invincible. You want to be standing at the front and just fucking you can't get. Right. But now every tank has been built off what's called the like warrior template. So every tank has like a burst phase and they have like a one move that protects the party. But all 4 tanks have one move that protects the party on a 90-second cooldown. So now all 4 tanks feel the same, including Paladin, the one with the fucking shield. No, the one with the shield should be tougher, but do less damage because they have a fucking shield. The Paladin's fantasy is to be invincible. Can't have
Geef's SPD doing the same damage as other command grabs from other characters.
No, it's Geef's SPD. It's big.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, so that's why I'm getting back in. So you are either I'm sorry, Woolie. Next week I will be using the big Hourglass.
I'm giving you the big one. Like you're
yeah, I know. But you know, I'm on the honor system here.
All right.
I'm using it on myself so that you don't have to.
Okay. Well, if
so I'll either be thrilled or pissed as fuck. There's no in between.
You know, if I were truly going hollow and dead-faced and whatever else people say, I wouldn't have asked you about what the 2-minute meta was.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
But you can, even somebody who doesn't play, you can see how the 2-minute meta kind of fucking
of course,
sucks.
It's a sliding scale balancing problem where things this applies to all genres, where like the standardized thing based on the meta that develops becomes what everyone has to adhere to, and now you've brought in a feeling of sameness that kills the fun of multiple characters. So just everything gets bland as a result, even though it didn't start that way.
They chased short-term solutions because, like, you know, 3 expansions ago, they're like, damn it, Samurai doesn't fit in the 2-minute meta, and Samurais aren't. So we'll improve Samurai, and so that now Samurai fits in the 2-minute meta.
And anyone who gets released that doesn't fit into that gets ignored immediately, I assume. Like, just no one who's taking the game seriously is going to even look twice at that, right? So
yeah, it's so. I would, and the other thing, and this is more specific, there are people that have been playing FF14 in its current state for 13 or 14 years, and everybody has the version of their class that was like the most fun to play, and none of them were the one that exists now.
Okay. So
like my favorite version of Dark Knight was the first one in 2015. That was 11 years ago.
So there's a possibility that you can win back some people that have been fucking out for a long time if what they do now is good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And my last thing I'll say is I miss Bane on Scholar. That was more fun than anything they have now. I don't give a fuck. Bane on Scholar was so fucking awesome.
I feel like it's weird that these big changes didn't line up with the story reset, and it probably would have been a good time to do those two at the exact same time.
You know what? Yeah. So let me tell you something. Dawn Trail was pitched as the start of the new the new A plot. And it fucking wasn't. It was an intermission. I finished patch 7.3, but I didn't see the final cutscene. The start of the new A plot is in the next cutscene. Like, it's literally
so it actually was a waste of time. Yeah, okay.
But that is over a year into the expansion. It's a beach episode. It's filler.
16 years.
Like, you would have expected this level of big change to be with Dawn Trail because that's when the graphics changed. But no, this was the intermission. And the next one, which will have all the mechanical changes, is the start of the new A plot.
4 years of filler. Jesus Christ. Well,
so you probably don't get that. So what happened was Endwalker was everything is wrapped up in a neat little bow, perfect main campaign. And then Endwalker 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, 6.4, 6.5 was a side story that had nothing to do with Dawn Trail. And like, if you enjoyed it, you enjoyed it, but it wasn't the start of, it was not an off ramp to something new. Right? Honestly, somebody in the chat says, not Soy says it's the Avengers Endgame problem. It is very similar to that, where they built up to this perfect ending, and then they're like, well, what do we do now? And then they just kind of flail around with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier for fucking 4 years.
But it also sounds like what people used to talk about with, like, I guess Burning Crusade and some of that, like, stuff that WoW went through.
Well, yeah, no, WoW also had that problem. You beat the Lich King, and you're like, hey, guess what? That was the fucking goal from day one.
And I thought, like, you know, you would learn from the lesson of the previous all-in-one MMO platform, you know, that was that you took all the attention from. Like that was the lesson to learn specifically, was whatever WoW did
Yeah,
wrong.
so what WoW
fix
did
that.
was every single time you killed a big bad, they said actually there was another big bad behind them.
Okay.
And that obviously can only go so many times before it's absurd.
Okay.
FF14. So I'm calling my shot because I don't know. I am going to assume that the new A plot is basically going to be you didn't get everybody that could have been a problem.
Okay.
There are that you didn't kill everybody. Therefore, we will continue to have problems.
Now, this timer is still going. However, there's another timer, and that's the page timer, which says we've got.
We gotta go. News.
Got half an hour
I'm
left.
afraid of my wife. Let's go.
All right. So.